I love how CNN runs interference for Obama. Well, I just wanted to share this little clip with you guys because they talk about self-defense, and Obama apparently doesn't like the stand your ground law, and just an interesting conversation. So let's listen to it and we'll talk about it.
Talked at length about it, but I want to read you some. He said, if we're sending a message as a society in our communities that someone who is armed potentially has the right to use those firearms, even if there's a way for them to exit from a situation, is that really going to be contributing to the kind of peace and security and order we'd like to see? He got some backlash from some on that, others praising him. Dr. West, what's your reaction to him bringing that into this conversation, this talk on race?
I was glad to see him bring it in. He said we must never rationalize killing innocent people in the name of self-defense. Now, then I thought about our drone policy.
I love it. I mean, here's Obama, and he's complaining about George. George is laying on the concrete, getting his head bashed, his nose busted. He's in fear for his life, and he finally, after a long time of hoping someone will come to his defense, finally uses his firearm to defend himself, his own personal self. That's self-defense. And this guy brings it up, and he said, about the drones. Obama verifies every drone strike. So he said if somebody gets killed by a drone, it's Obama shooting them because he has to verify it and qualify it. And we know that he does. So all those people that he's dropped bombs on or attacked with drones, these people supposedly he was killing them in self-defense even though they weren't on him or on anyone else. They're in their own country, in their own homes, doing their own thing. You know, we're about done with this thing, this drone war thing. As far as an American is concerned, I can't think of any that support this idea of just dropping bombs on people because you think that they might be terrorists or you have some sort of information. I mean, we know about American intelligence. I mean, when you say CIA intelligence, it's like an oxymoron.
Makes us the George Zimmerman of the world in terms of killing innocent folk in the name of self-defense. But he's absolutely right. Self-defense must never be used as a way of downplaying the precious lives of innocent people. But it was only at the state level I was very dissatisfied because he didn't talk about the federal level. I support the rallies around the country.
And this is, why I brought this up because I think it's pretty sad that people are actually thinking that the federal government has some sort of power over firearms or over the decision for individuals to have their firearms. I mean, states really don't have any power to limit the Second Amendment rights of people, and neither does the federal government. And why these people have these conversations as if they do. What we've done is we've given states a little bit too much leeway, a little bit too much power over the people on their rights. And also the federal government stepped in somewhere in the, like in the late 30s. And we need to, revisit this information because we don't believe that the Second Amendment uh, can be abused by the federal government or by the states. Let's continue.
It must be at the federal level. He gave the impression that he's pulling back, even as he gave this very powerful personal story. The personal will not be enough. We need policy, and we need some serious truth-telling about a racist criminal justice system. If you're going to be a father, you don't respond to the death of your son and the murder walking away by talking about a nation of laws and talking about the jury is right. It's a racist verdict. Where's the moral indignation? I don't want just political calculation. It's a combination of both, I think, at this moment. I applaud his words, but I'm still waiting for action.
So he thinks that it was a racist verdict, and it's obvious to me that he didn't follow the trial because if he did, I mean, he appears to be an intelligent man. I just can't imagine that he could have watched the trial and then come across this way. And we've verified in other videos and in this one as well that this case had nothing to do whatsoever with stand your ground. All right? I mean, stand your ground. How do you stand your ground when you're laying on the ground and the guy's sitting on top of you? How do you run away? Why didn't Obama speak about that? Why didn't he say, well, in this case, we couldn't say that George could have run away because he was being held down. So, they need to verify that, but neither one of these the media doesn't want to talk about those facts.
I've been suffering for a long time, and too much.
So this is the main thing that I wanted to bring up. They really believe that Stand Your Ground had something to do with George Zimmerman, which obviously it didn't, and that they want to get rid of it because they think that individuals that were in George's position should not have the right to get away from. So really, they're not against stand your ground. They're against pre-stand your ground. They're against self-defense at all. And the comments that the lady read early on make that point that he said, do we really want people to be armed walking around our society thinking that they have the right to use those arms, deadly force, to protect themselves against perceived threats? That's the point that he's trying to make. So this is the thing that proves that he is obviously not protecting our rights, and that he has, even though he said in the past that he supports Second Amendment rights, he either doesn't understand them as a constitutional professor, and a very ignorant man apparently, or somebody who is a socialist and has decided that he doesn't like him and he's a liar. And I know that most socialists, you have to be a liar because Americans are freedom lovers. So if you want to get into the American power system, you have to lie. You can't go in there and if he would have run as the first time around and said, I'm a socialist, I want to take away your rights to bear arms, I want to limit your right to self-defense, because remember, even if they take away your guns, if you kill somebody, if you pull out a knife or anything else and defend your life while they're beating your head on the concrete, this is what he doesn't like it. This is just very important, and I hope everybody's paying attention to this. And it's not just him; it's like the entire uh, Democratic side and several Republicans. And right now, as far as I'm concerned, I don't trust any of the mainstream uh, media or the mainstream Republicans or Democrats. There's only a few of them, and we're starting to see that ripple, that divide. So you've got the Republicans, but really you've got the Tea Party Republicans, and then you've got the old establishment guard Republicans. These are people that uh, really are part of the the group of people that are controlling the way things move, and it's in both parties, and they just float back and forth between who appears to be in power. But we know better. We're not ignorant people. So anyway, it was good talking to you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.
On it right after.